All right, we're here outside our hotel in Panama City. We're waiting for our ride. We're gonna head out to the Guna area. It's basically its own nation of indigenous peoples, tribes. And they have a whole coastal region and a bunch of islands called the Blas Archipelago, or Archipelago, however you want to say it. I think I just butchered it. But we are that one of their drivers is coming out from there. A little nation, basically. We have to show our passports to get in, so it's kind of their own homeland. And they're gonna drive us the 2.5 hours out there, 3 hours to the coast, and then take us by wooden boats out to the islands. We're gonna stay in a thatched hut right on an island and then explore some of the islands around there. We're just doing a 2-day, 1 night to end our trip here to Panama and experience a different part of the culture and people here. So should be exciting, and I'll hopefully do a bunch of filming while we're on this part of the trip. Swastika looking thing. That's an old native symbol here. I think amongst the Incans or the Mayans, or the Aztecs, I can't remember. But it wasn't. That's not a Nazi symbol. The Nazis stole that from, or took that from, an ancient culture here, and the tribal people here use it. bounced around from island to island. You can see islands out there. And it took an hour to get to here. And right, everything's soaking wet. It was a pretty wild ride in that boat. It only has a single 40 horsepower engine. All the other boats had like double engines, 65 and 75 horsepower setups, and they were just cruising. But ours was just struggling. And the waves were really big, but it's beautiful out here. There's just dotted islands everywhere that you can see. And some look like they're mostly vacant, and some have these huts on them and stuff. But the one we're staying at is way back over there, like 30 minutes boat ride. So I guess we're just hanging out at different islands the rest of the day, and then we go back to the one we're staying on. It's a pretty cool adventure so far. These are indigenous people, and so it was kind of sketchy. We got passed around from guy to guy. I'm Noel, but nobody spoke English, and they spoke a kind of a mix of an indigenous language peppered with Spanish, it seemed like. And then finally some guy came up and said, and got us onto a boat with the other group of people, and I think we're in the right place. I hope. Fresh caught fish. I don't know what kind. Something out of the ocean. Rice and some type of salad. And they brought us ketchup. I guess ketchup's big in Panama and everything from the past American presidents. Hot sauce and salad. And our beautiful view. Surrounded by ocean. Pretty close. Actually, it looks like they sawed these off and stuck them in here. They're in pretty straight rows. Probably so the pelicans would land and they could have birds out here. It's so beautiful. You can see this reef all the way across here. If I can get it focused in. There we go. You can see the waves breaking on this reef. It goes all the way across. All the way across over to that island. water. It's super warm. It's just as warm as the air. Top of the volcano. We were sitting on the highest peak in Panama on top of the volcano 48 hours ago, and now we're standing 3 feet deep in the ocean. 11,000 foot difference in elevation. I think the peak was about 11,000 feet, so hopefully you can hear that. I'll repeat it right now if you couldn't hear it. We were just talking about how it's cool that we were 11,000 feet on the highest peak in Panama 48 hours ago. We climbed up there, and now we're 3 feet deep in the ocean, 3 feet under sea level, so 11,000 foot difference. It's just so pretty out here. It's so awesome. It's cool coming out here on these small wooden boats, just breaking through the seas. Okay, we made it. This is our island. Standing in our hut right now. This is our island. It's a small island out here off the coast of Panama, and everywhere I can see on the horizon is island, 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 island. And we went out and visited a whole bunch of them. This is our hut. You can see the end of the island there, and you can see across the island there. There's nothing fancy about it, and they told us that. We're just staying one night. Some people arrange to have camping gear. There's like a little series of huts over there where the natives, indigenous people live here and work here, and then you can buy some stuff from them too. But the boat dropped us off. They have bathrooms at the end that aren't that spectacular, but they work. So it's very simplistic. And they actually, when the boat pulled up, it almost took us back to shore, the hour back to shore. But we stopped them, and for some reason they hadn't written things down. It's really confusing. The tour company sets it up on behalf of the indigenous people, but after they set it up, you're entirely in the hands of them. And when the driver dropped us at the confusing boat launch areas, it was just a mass confusion of people and drivers passing you along to different friends, and they're calling each other. They all have cell phones and they're running around. We got passed to a guy named Noel, then we got passed to Manuelito, and then here we got passed to, I think, Julio, or he said like Julieto or something like that. It was a little bit different than Julio. And somehow we ended up on a day excursion, which we were supposed to do tomorrow, visiting different islands. They fed us lunch, it was delicious. And then they brought us here, and that group was being taken back to go home again, or back to their hotels back in Panama City, 3-hour drive away. But we said no, and we had to sort it all out with our broken Spanish and their non-English. Nobody here speaks English. So it's been fun, exciting. Here's our private hut. There's multiple beds in them, but we get it to ourselves. So it has a little padlock so you can lock the door, and it has a fancy cardboard number and then a fancy number and marker. And I mean, people could just climb right over the top if they wanted to get in, or rip it all apart if they wanted to. But here's our sleeping quarters, real mattresses, I assume clean sheets, and I just strung this all together with bamboo and reeds and palm fronds and a whole bunch of twine. And there just seems to be coconuts everywhere. It's beautiful. It's pretty amazing here. And then there's native peoples out there fishing, bringing in dinner and lunch and stuff in these are hollowed out single log canoes, and then they put a motor on the back, and then they add some fiberglass reinforcement and some upper boards, but most of that is just hollowed out log, same as that, with a 15 horsepower motor on the back from what I can tell. And they just go out fishing. We saw maybe that group out fishing amongst the islands. We'll walk over here. It's really pretty out here. They just called us to breakfast at 7 a.m. with the conch shell. That's how they call you to breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So, let's go see what they're serving. This is the dining room, so you just sit down and they feed you. All right. I think that's going to wrap up our trip here to the island. It's the morning, and we've arranged to get us back on a morning boat instead of afternoon, just because we're a bit nervous after yesterday. And we want to make sure we make our flight in the morning and all that. So we think we've arranged that for a boat sitting right over there, and with our limited Spanish. So it's been a really cool adventure. Beautiful island. These indigenous people have only been doing this about 10 years, this idea of tourism. And they do a pretty good job, other than the communication and the arrangements and all that stuff. It's stunningly beautiful. There's 365 islands here. Coconuts are still their major export to Colombia. They've been here for hundreds of years. No one knows exactly how long. Could be 300, it could be even more. But they have ties to indigenous cultures and language bases in Latin America here, and in Peru, Colombia, and Panama. And I want to read more about the people. Fascinating. It's been a cool ending to our Panama adventure. Just this totally different element out here on the coast and the islands in this nation within a nation of indigenous people here. So the Guna people. So anyway, beautiful place, beautiful sunrise this morning, and thanks for coming on this trip, field trip.